being here again. I spoke last year at Next 10 about changing the game, and this year I'm going to ask you not to save and not to collect data, but to collect trust instead. And I had a great time listening to my previous speakers, and I'm going to try to put this in a perspective of an offline business. As you might have noticed, there are still some offline businesses left out there, and I'm running one. And I got into this by accident because when I was sitting in my bathtub about 11.5 years ago, I noticed my favorite soft drink tasted differently, and the caffeine push, which I liked so much, had gone. So I went to the producer and asked him, what did you change and why did you change it? And he told me the brand had been sold, and they had changed the recipe, they had changed the caffeine, and what struck me most, they had changed it secretly without telling anybody. And this started a protest campaign about 2 years. I spoke to this supplier, and we spoke and spoke and spoke. And they even hired a crisis manager to deal with us. We were 780 people back then. And we were trying to convince this producer to roll back the changes he made, and especially try to communicate transparently and openly about any changes he might make. And then they issued a light version of the product, and we realized they didn't understand. Because my core approach was, I'm the customer, I'm paying this bottle, and therefore I'm paying the whole structure behind it, the producers, the logistics, the bosses, and so on. So they can't just lie to me, and they can't just change the product without asking me. Now let's jump forward in time. We then were very, very lucky. We found the original recipe and produced 1,000 bottles for us, and then another 1,000 and another 1,000. And by accident, I founded a company. And let's jump forward 9 years in time. Taking some time to jump 9 years forward. The company today, it's called Premium, and it's a virtual company, so my office is in my backpack here. We produce 650,000 bottles per year, and we have a 50% growth rate every year, constantly. And what we do is we have a kind of consensus democratic brand leading, which means we take every stakeholder in a mailing list and discuss everything and try to come to good solutions and publish these solutions open source, so it's free to everybody to copy. And it's not about the drinks, actually, but it's about changing the game. That's our core business. And we have 18 other brands who like this advice and have their businesses changed by us. And how do we change this? For example, we offer anti-volume discounts instead of volume discounts, because the smaller dealers need the support and not the bigger ones. We publish mistakes actively, and we change even smallest aspects. We changed the glue to a vegan version. And why do we do that? When compared to the standard payment terms, it's somewhere between 10 to 30 days in the drinks business. So anybody who will pay after 20 days looks quite cool in this area of expected behavior. And we pay after 2 days, and thereby widen this area of expected behavior. So the guy who pays after 20 days does not look too good in this new diameter. So this is how we try to change the game. And this kind of works. Let me give you just one example. There's an unofficial Facebook group out there, and we try to talk to them several times and try to get the key to this group. It took us about 1 year, but then we got the key as a present. So the official company gets the unofficial Facebook page as a present. We now have the key to this page. And what does all this have to do with data and data love? With data, we also try to do things differently. For example, we don't have the standard privacy policy on our website, but we have a detailed explanation about which customer group will send us which data and what exactly we're going to do about it. This takes quite some effort to document and quite some effort to optimize the processes, but in my opinion, this is a core aspect of collecting trust instead of collecting data. Another aspect would be when working in the daily business, we get lots and lots of data. We get data about our customers, we get data about the customers of our customers, we get even more data, and with much data there comes much power. We could use all this data to interfere with the market, to align structures according to our will, and so on and so on. But I think as an entrepreneur, you will always have to check one question before. This data I have, am I allowed to have it? And if not, I'm not allowed to use it. So this is, put simple, it's behave well with the data you have and look away from data you don't have or shouldn't have. And when dealing with personal data, like for example data from customers, we decided not to save log files on our website. And we also decided to delete data we receive from personal customers. And this also takes quite some effort because the systems we use, they don't like the data being deleted. But in my opinion, again, this is necessary for a company to demonstrate its approach to a reasonable and a reasonable way of dealing with data. And this leads me to the core idea behind it, because dealing with data in a different way and not collecting it and deleting it deliberately and looking away when you shouldn't be able to have data in the first place. This whole approach is, in my opinion, necessary because there has been a shift of power from companies to the consumers. Consumers nowadays have very well known and documented possibilities to interfere with brands and to harm companies. And a single shitstorm can damage the reputation of a company which has been building up over 50 years. So I was like that in the past. I was like, I'm ready to do some damage. I want to punish these companies who lie to me and so on. And I think there has been a little shift with me and with lots of other customers and users also. It's incredibly easy today to create an own company. And if a company fails to address his users right, then the users might fund an own company and step onto the market. And this is where I usually talk about the threat and the pressure and so on companies who should deliberately try to include their users and improve their work. But I have a marvelous coach, Lübbermann, who told me not to do that, but instead point out the chances of doing so. Because as soon as you decide to change the game and to address things differently, you can create and kind of educate a little market share according to your own ideas, and the users will love you for doing so. So imagine just one guy sitting in his bathtub right now, or maybe you want to have a talk at next 2021 about changing the game in data and data love. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Uwe. So, do you think you want to be bigger than Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola or not?
At the moment, we have 0.5 promille of market share, so I think this will take lots of time. But
well, to Coca-Cola, like 120 years. So you're only at this like 7 years.
my core business is not about reaching market share, but to influence the game and to change it. So I'm okay with this market share of 0.5 promille.
And what would Coca-Cola would have to do when you would, for you to say, look, this is what I changed? What would be like a sign that they're actually listening?
Well, they could, for example, make their every step they do with data they collect transparent. They should, at least in my opinion, don't look at data they shouldn't have in the first place. And last but not least, they should delete personal data they obtain in any way.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Lübbermann from Premium Cola.